Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, wondering what your life might look like in its final chapter? Not in a fearful way, but with quiet curiosity. What memories would flash before your eyes? What choices might whisper, "I wish I had"? It's a question we all grapple with, but here's what's fascinating. When researchers sat down with hundreds of seniors in their final days, the same 5 regrets surfaced again and again. And the good news? Every single one is avoidable, if you act now. Let's start with a story about Robert, a retired accountant from Omaha. For 40 years, Robert wore suits he hated, nodded through meetings that bored him, and tucked away his love for painting landscapes because art doesn't pay the bills. At 78, he told his daughter, "I spent my life doing what was expected, not what made me feel alive." His words echo the first regret we hear most often. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The trap is subtle. It starts with small compromises, postponing a hobby for someday, silencing an opinion to keep peace, choosing practicality over passion. But over decades, those choices calcify. Suddenly, you're facing a mirror and realizing the person staring back feels like a stranger. The fix? It's simpler than you think. Start by asking yourself one question each morning. What would today look like if I were fully honoring who I am? Maybe it's finally signing up for that community theater audition, writing family stories for your grandchildren, or simply saying no to a commitment that drains you. Robert began watercolor classes at his local senior center. "It's not about being Picasso," he said. "It's about remembering who I was before spreadsheets." Now, let's talk about the second regret, one that hits closer to home than most realize. Meet Eleanor, a former nurse in Nashville. Sharp as a tack at 82, she's the first to send birthday cards and remembers every grandchild's favorite dessert. But when her best friend passed away last year, Eleanor made a painful confession. "We hadn't spoken in 3 years. Life just got in the way." This mirrors the regret researchers heard repeatedly. "I wish I hadn't let friendships fade away." Here's the hard truth. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a health risk. Studies show chronic loneliness in seniors increases the risk of heart disease, dementia, and premature death as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But here's the hope. Reconnecting doesn't require grand gestures. Eleanor started with a 5-minute ritual. Every Sunday, she writes one short note to someone from her past, a cousin, an old coworker, even her high school biology teacher. No deep confessions, just, "I've been thinking about you. How's life treating you these days?" Within months, she'd rekindled 4 relationships. "Turns out," she laughs, "everyone's just waiting for someone else to reach out." But there's a third regret lurking in the shadows. One that's rarely discussed but impacts everything from your independence to your peace of mind. It's the reason Martha, a spirited 76-year-old from Florida, nearly lost her home last year, and why George, a retired teacher in Oregon, wakes up at 3 a.m. worrying about his wife's future. This regret isn't about the past. It's about what happens when we avoid tough conversations in the present. And the solution starts with 3 words you can say today. Martha's story begins with a cluttered kitchen drawer. For years, she'd been meaning to organize it, along with updating her will, discussing healthcare wishes with her son, and reviewing her insurance policies. "I'll get to it when I'm less busy," she'd say, even in retirement. Then came the storm. A hurricane damaged her roof, and when she filed a claim, she discovered her homeowner's insurance had lapsed 6 months prior. The repair costs drained her savings, forcing her to take out a reverse mortgage she never fully understood. "I was too proud to ask for help," she admits, "and too scared to face the paperwork." This brings us to the third regret. "I wish I'd had the courage to face difficult conversations and plans head-on." It's not just about wills or finances, though those matter, but the conversations that define our legacy. George's 3 a.m. worries? They stemmed from never discussing end-of-life care with his wife, who'd been diagnosed with early-stage dementia. "What if I choose wrong?" he agonized. What if she'd have wanted something different? The weight of uncertainty became heavier than the discomfort of the talk itself. The solution lies in what hospice nurses call the legacy binder. It's not morbid, it's empowering. Start with 3 simple steps. First, label a folder, physical or digital, with "For My Family." Side, place contact information for your lawyer, financial advisor, and doctor. Second, write a single page titled "What Matters Most to Me." This isn't a legal document, just a heartfelt note outlining your priorities, whether it's staying in your home as long as possible or ensuring your vintage record collection goes to your music-loving granddaughter. Third, schedule a paperwork coffee date with a trusted friend or relative. Martha did this with her niece, a notary public. Over lattes, they updated her insurance, drafted a living will, and even found discounts on roof repairs. Turns out, Martha says, the hardest part was opening the drawer. But while planning for the future is critical, there's a fourth: regret that quietly erodes joy in the present, one that's often dismissed as just part of aging. Take Linda, a 79-year-old former librarian in Arizona. She loved hiking the Sonoran desert trails, but when her knees began to ache, she swapped her boots for slippers. Then came the TV marathons, the gradual reliance on a walker, and finally, the doctor's warning: use it or lose it. The regret: I wish I hadn't mistaken slowing down for giving up. The science is clear. After 60, adults lose 1 to 2% of muscle mass yearly if inactive. But here's what's rarely said: this decline isn't inevitable. Linda's turnaround began with a 10-minute daily ritual she calls micro-movements. While waiting for her morning coffee to brew, she marches in place, holding the counter, for balance. During TV ads, she does seated leg lifts. On phone calls, she strolls around her living room. Within 6 months, she graduated to walking her block with a hiking pole. "I'm not chasing mountain summits anymore," she says, "but I can sit on the floor with my great-grandkids and get up without groaning. That's victory." If this resonates with you and you're committed to staying proactive, type "still" here in the comments. I'd love to know who's with me on this journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep bringing you valuable content to inform and inspire. Now let's address the silent thief that's far more dangerous than any financial scam or aching joint. One that's cost millions of seniors their sense of purpose, their vitality, and in some cases, their will to live. It's the reason Harold, an 81-year-old retired mechanic in Michigan, spent 2 years barely leaving his recliner after his wife died. "I kept thinking, what's left for me now?" he recalls. But what Harold didn't realize, and what researchers have proven, is that this regret isn't just about loss. It's about forgetting that reinvention has no expiration date. Harold's recliner became his world after losing his wife. The garage where he once rebuilt classic cars gathered dust. His calendar stayed blank. "I felt like a clock that stopped ticking," he admits. Then, one Tuesday morning, his granddaughter FaceTimed him, struggling to fix her bike chain. Harold's hands remembered what his heart had forgotten: the rhythm of turning wrenches, the satisfaction of solving problems. That 10-minute call led to a weekly ritual: Virtual Fix-It Fridays, where he coaches young neighbors through DIY repairs via Zoom. Last month, they surprised him with a plaque: Harold's Garage, open 24/7 for wisdom. His story embodies the fifth regret, the one that haunts more seniors than any financial worry or health diagnosis. "I wish I'd allowed myself to evolve, even when life tried to shrink my world." This regret isn't about grand achievements. It's about refusing to let loss or age define your capacity to contribute. Researchers at Yale found that seniors with a strong sense of purpose live 7 years longer on average than those who feel adrift. But purpose isn't found, it's built. Start small. Teach a skill via free community workshops. Libraries love volunteers for this. Record family recipes with voice notes explaining why grandma's meatloaf deserves a pinch of nutmeg. Join senior pen pal programs that pair you with school kids learning cursive. Harold now mentors teens at the local auto shop. "Turns out," he grins, "carburetors haven't changed much since 1972. Let's address the elephant in the room: fear. fear of irrelevance, fear of being too old to learn new tricks. But consider Florence, an 84-year-old from Toronto, who'd never touched a tablet until her grandsons gifted her one last Christmas. Within weeks, she was posting TikTok videos teaching Victorian-era etiquette. Why RSVP isn't just a fancy acronym. Her viral fame isn't the point. It's the spark in her voice when she says, "I finally understand what going viral means. And no, it's not a flu." The bittersweet truth? Time passes whether we grow with it or not. But here's the secret those deathbed regrets reveal. Aging isn't about clinging to what's slipping away. It's about discovering what can't be taken. Your humor, your stories, your ability to surprise yourself. Imagine waking up a year from now having rekindled a friendship, protected your independence with a solid plan, and reignited a passion you thought was lost. That future isn't a fantasy. It's a choice you make today. Comment below. Which tip will you try first? Drop a comment and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so don't hold back. Your input means a lot to us. Reading your comments keeps us motivated and inspired. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep bringing you valuable content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Remember, aging isn't about slowing down. It's about living smarter. Here's to your healthiest, happiest chapter yet. One where every sunrise feels less like a countdown and more like a fresh page waiting for your story.